The text arrives while I'm watching a nurse change the dressing on my leg. My phone buzzes against the hospital nightstand, and I reach for it, expecting another message from my commanding officer about the commendation ceremony next week. Instead, it's from my father. "Don't come this year. We think it's better that way." My coffee mug slips through my fingers. It hits the linoleum floor and shatters, black liquid splashing across the pristine white tiles like an oil spill. "Lieutenant Bennett." The nurse jumps back, narrowly avoiding the spray. "Are you all right?" I can't answer her. 11 years of service, 3 deployments, 4 months in this military hospital recovering from shrapnel wounds that nearly cost me my right leg. This Christmas was supposed to be my homecoming, my triumphant return to civilian life with honors and a medical discharge that my family could finally be proud of. And now this. 10 words erasing my place at my family's table. The nurse is still waiting for a response, concern etching lines around her eyes. I hand her my phone wordlessly. She reads it, and her face softens with understanding. "I'm sorry," she whispers, placing the phone back in my palm. I look down at the screen again. The message blurs, then sharpens. Something shifts inside me, not pain, but something harder, colder, more final. My thumbs move across the keyboard. Understood. I set the phone down, feeling strangely calm. Not hurt. Not anymore. Just done. Last June, I flew home on a 3-day pass to celebrate my promotion to lieutenant. My father met me at the door with a toolbox. "Garage door's been sticking," he said by way of greeting. "Since you're here, might as well make yourself useful before dinner." I remember standing there in my dress uniform, ribbons and insignia catching the afternoon sun, while he turned and walked back inside without waiting for my response. As if the oak leaf on my shoulder meant nothing compared to a squeaky garage door that needed fixing. My mother, Catherine, watched from the kitchen window. Our eyes met briefly before she looked away, busying herself with dinner preparations. Always keeping the peace. Always choosing silence over confrontation. I fixed the door. I always fix things for them. The memory of my father's reaction when I first told him I was enlisting surfaces, like a bruise being pressed. "At least the military might teach you some discipline," he'd said, not looking up from his newspaper. My phone rings, cutting through my thoughts. Evan's name flashes on the screen. My brother, the eternal peacemaker. I answer but say nothing. "Logan?" His voice is tentative. "Dad told me he texted you." I remain silent, listening to my brother breathe on the other end of the line. "Look, maybe just give Dad some space this year." Evan continues, rushing to fill the silence. "You know how he gets when things don't go according to plan. With the renovation and everything. It's just not a good time." My hands have stopped trembling. I open my laptop and pull up my email archive, scrolling back 6 years to find what I'm looking for. "Logan? Are you still there?" "I'm here," I say finally. "I've always been here, Evan. 6 years ago, my father called while I was stationed overseas. The family needed to refinance the mortgage," he explained. "Just some bank stuff, nothing to worry about. Sign here, initial there." I trusted him. "Remember that dinner 2 years ago?" I ask Evan suddenly. "When I tried to tell you all about the humanitarian mission in Kabul?" "Sure, I guess." Dad interrupted me to talk about the neighbor's new lawn service. I scroll through the mortgage documents, reading the fine print I should have examined years ago. "You all just went with it. Like what I was saying didn't matter." "That's not fair, Logan." "But it is fair. It's the truth. For years, I've been chasing approval from people who see me as an inconvenience at best, a resource at worst. I've been fighting for a place at a table where my seat was removed long ago. I hang up without saying goodbye and stare at the mortgage document on my screen. My signature, authorizing Dad to add my name to the house title. A house I've barely lived in since high school. A house I somehow now legally own more than half of. The realization settles over me like armor. I've spent 11 years defending other people's homes. Maybe it's time I fought for my own. Next week, Tuesday, the mortgage documents blur before my eyes as I sit in my hospital room. I've been staring at the same page for 10 minutes, my brain refusing to process what I'm seeing. My name, my signature, ownership percentage, 52%. I laugh, a sharp sound that startles even me, and sink back into my hospital chair. The laptop nearly slides from my lap. 52%, I whisper to the empty room. Majority owner. 6 years of property tax forms I never saw. 6 years of legal liability I never agreed to. My father's voice echoes in my memory. It's just on paper, don't overthink it. But paper has weight. Paper has consequences. And apparently, paper makes me the primary owner of a house I haven't lived in since I was 23. The next morning, I wheel myself to Captain Mercer's office in the Legal Affairs Department. The military attorney's office smells of coffee and old law books. I automatically stand at parade rest despite my still healing leg, while Mercer sits behind his desk reviewing the documents I emailed him last night. His eyebrows rise higher with each page he scrolls through. "Lieutenant Bennett," he says finally, looking up at me over reading glasses. "Do you realize you've been paying property taxes on a home you've never lived in?" "What?" The word comes out sharp. I grip the back of the visitor's chair. "These tax forms." He turns his monitor so I can see. "Your father has been claiming you as the primary taxpayer since 2019. Your signature is on all of them." I lean forward, squinting at the screen. "I never signed those." "And this is interesting." Mercer clicks to another document. "There appears to be rental income from 2 bedrooms leased to college students. Did you authorize this?" The room tilts slightly. I lower myself into the chair across from him. "No, sir. I had no idea." Mercer removes his glasses. "They can't legally rent rooms without your consent as majority owner. The income should have been reported under your name, with appropriate documentation sent to you for tax purposes." The realization settles over me like a weight. While I was deployed, while I was getting shot at in foreign countries, my family was using my name to generate income. They were profiting from my absence, all while making sure I remained exactly that, absent. "What does this mean for me?" I ask, my voice steadier than I feel. Mercer steeples his fingers. "It means you have legal exposure, Lieutenant. Unreported rental income on property primarily in your name could create liability issues. Could it affect my security clearance? Military career suicide if it does. Potentially. Financial irregularities often trigger reviews." He taps his pen against the desk. "The bigger concern is the 7-year window for tax audits. You're still within that time frame for the earliest of these transactions." I close my eyes briefly. The double betrayal burns using me for financial gain while simultaneously pushing me away. "Your family has essentially viewed you as a signature, not a daughter," Mercer says bluntly. "They've created legal jeopardy for you without your knowledge or consent." The words should hurt, but instead, they clarify. Everything crystallizes into sharp focus, all the years of dismissal, of being useful only when I could fix something or sign something. "What are my options?" I ask. Mercer leans back, assessing me. Then he makes a decision, closing his laptop. "I'll help you navigate this, Lieutenant. Pro bono." His voice softens slightly. "The military takes care of its own." For the first time in days, I feel something loosen in my chest. Not relief exactly, but the knowledge that I'm not alone in this fight. As I sit in that quiet office, surrounded by law books and the faint smell of coffee, I wonder, should I confront them immediately with what I've discovered, or strategically reclaim what was legally mine without warning? One path might preserve the possibility of reconciliation, but the other would ensure I wouldn't be manipulated again. What would you do when the people who should love you have instead used you? The question hangs in the air as Captain Mercer begins outlining a plan of action, his voice steady and certain. I listen, feeling the anger harden into something more useful determination. My father always told me that ownership comes with responsibility. He was right about that much. It's time I took responsibility for what's mine. 3 days later, the real estate agent's voice crackles through my phone speaker, confusion evident in her tone. "Miss Bennett? I'm calling about the property at 185 Willow Creek Road. There seems to be some discrepancy regarding ownership." I sit straighter in my hospital bed, ignoring the twinge in my leg. "What discrepancy?" "Well, the listing agreement was signed by Gregory Bennett, but our title search shows you as majority owner. I can't proceed with the sale without your signature." The room seems to tilt sideways. "Sale? What sale?" "The house was listed yesterday. Your father didn't mention this?" My fingers tighten around the phone. Number he didn't. After disconnecting, I pull up Evan's social media profile. The photo appears like a slap across my face. My family gathered around the Christmas tree, wearing matching sweaters. Mother, father, Evan, his wife Sarah, their kids. Champagne glasses raised in a toast. The caption reads, "Perfect family, Christmas at home, couldn't ask for more." Couldn't ask for more. As if I never existed. I scroll through more photos, freezing when I spot my old bedroom in the background of a selfie Evan took. The walls are now pale yellow instead of blue. A desk I don't recognize sits where my bed once stood. A small sign on the door reads, "Rental number 2, $750, Mo." My bedroom, converted permanently, while I was bleeding in a military hospital. The timing hits me with brutal clarity. My medical discharge is scheduled for February. They're rushing to sell the house before I can return to civilian life and discover what they've done. Physical therapy becomes torture as my mind wages war against my family's betrayal. My body fights back against both. "Push through the resistance, Lieutenant," my therapist urges as I struggle with leg extensions that were easier last week. "I'm trying." I grit through clenched teeth, sweat rolling down my temples. "Your numbers are dropping. Something on your mind?" "Everything. Nothing I can explain without falling apart." My roommate, Specialist Alvarez, notices too. She returns from a family visit carrying homemade tamales and a handmade quilt. "Your folks sending another care package soon?" she asks, arranging framed photos of her children on her nightstand. I focus on my laptop screen. They're busy. Her silence speaks volumes. Weeks in the same room, and she hasn't seen a single call, card, or package from my family. Nights become an endless cycle of real estate website refreshes. The listing appears, professional photos showcasing rooms I barely recognize. The description boasts rental income potential and move-in ready condition. Price, $485,000. My father wants this done quickly. Sleep becomes a luxury I can't afford. When exhaustion finally claims me, I dream of doors slammed in my face, of running through empty rooms calling for people who can't hear me. The civilian attorney I've hired charges $350 per hour. Captain Mercer's pro bono help covers military angles, but I need specialized real estate expertise. My savings dwindle with each consultation. It's straightforward but not simple. The attorney explains. "Your ownership is clear. Stopping the sale is easy. The question is what you want to happen next." What I want. No one has asked me that in years. A knock on my hospital door startles me from another spreadsheet of legal costs. A woman stands in the doorway, carrying takeout bags that smell like heaven after weeks of hospital food. Her posture screams military even in civilian clothes. Back straight, shoulders squared, eyes assessing. "Lieutenant Bennett?" "Dana Williams. Army, retired. Captain Mercer sent me." I sit up straighter. "You're not another lawyer, are you?" She sets the food down and pulls out a business card. "Property manager. Specialize in veteran housing issues." Her smile is small but genuine. "Let's take back what's yours. Then we'll decide what to do with it." First person to say "let's" instead of telling me what to do. The family video call happens on a Tuesday. I position my laptop carefully, hospital bed raised to seated position, water within reach. Professional, prepared. The screen flickers to life, showing my parents in their living room. My living room. Father launches immediately into complaints. "This real estate agent is confused about something. Says she can't process the paperwork because of you." No greeting. No, how are you? Pure irritation that I've become an obstacle. "I'm not confused about anything," I reply, my voice calmer than I feel. "I understand you're trying to sell my house." Mother shifts uncomfortably. Father's face reddens. "This is ridiculous, Logan. It's our house. Your name is just on some paperwork. Actually, it's 52% my house, and I'm exercising my ownership rights." Father's mouth opens, closes, opens again. "You can't just—" "I also know about the rental income. 2 rooms at $750 each for the past 6 years. That's $108,000 in unreported income on property I legally own." Mother's face drains of color. "We never meant to—" "To what? Tell me? Include me? Remember I exist?" Father's voice hardens. "If this is how you want to play it, you're no longer welcome in this family." The words should hurt, should pierce like shrapnel. Instead, I feel nothing but clarity. How can I be unwelcome in a family that already discarded me? I've already been informed I'm not welcome. By text message, remember? The next 48 hours bring unexpected allies. Captain Mercer files an injunction preventing the house sale without my consent. Standard procedure when a service member's property rights are violated, he explains, though his extra hours reviewing rental laws are far from standard. Dana brings rental market analyses and property management contracts. "You have options?" she says, spreading documents across my hospital tray. "Sell, rent, live there yourself. What do you want?" What I want. The question still surprises me. When I speak to the hospital social worker, I find myself stating my needs without prefacing them with, "I'm sorry, but," for the first time in years. The legal notice takes shape on my laptop. 2 options for my family: sign a formal lease agreement at market rate, or vacate the premises. I include documentation of 6 years of unauthorized rental income, a powerful bargaining chip if they decide to fight. Friday morning, my doctor signs discharge papers with a warning about taking it easy on my healing leg. "Where will you be staying?" he asks, pen hovering over the final form. I think of the house that should have been my sanctuary, the home that was used against me. "I'm going home," I tell him, tucking the legal notice into my bag. Not to visit, to reclaim it. I park the rental car across the street from 185 Willow Creek Road, staring at the familiar 2-story colonial that had never truly felt like mine despite my name on the deed. Dana sits beside me, her clipboard filled with property inspection forms resting on her lap. The January wind whips through the barren oak trees lining the street, matching the cold determination settling in my chest. "Ready?" Dana asks, her voice steady and professional. I nod, watching the locksmith's van pull up behind us. More than ready. We approach the front door together, my boots crunching on the salt-covered walkway. I knock firmly, 3 decisive raps that echo my heartbeat. When my father opens the door, his initial smile of greeting freezes, then collapses into confusion. "Logan? What are you—" His eyes flick to Dana, then to the locksmith standing a few paces behind us. "Who are these people?" I hand him the stack of legal documents Captain Mercer prepared. "I'm here to conduct a formal inspection of my property, Dad." "Your property?" His voice rises as he scans the top page. "This is ridiculous. You can't just show up with strangers and—" "I can, actually." I step forward, forcing him to move back into the entryway. "I own 52% of this house, which gives me the legal right to inspect it at any time." I move through the rooms methodically, Dana following with her clipboard, documenting everything. The dining room table where I'd sat through countless silent meals. The living room where family photos no longer include me. And upstairs, my old bedroom, now furnished with a queen bed and generic decor, rental listings still open on the computer in the corner. "You've made quite a few modifications," I observe, taking photographs of the illegal electrical work in what was once my closet, now converted to a makeshift kitchenette. All without the majority owner's consent. My father follows us, protests weakening with each room we document. My mother hovers in doorways, wringing her hands, her silence more familiar than any welcome would have been. "This is absurd." My father blusters as the locksmith begins working on the front door. "You can't change the locks on our house." "Again, Dad, my house." I gesture toward the living room. "Perhaps you'd like to sit down while we finish?" The rage building in his face finally erupts. He storms to the phone, punching numbers with trembling fingers. "I'm calling the police. This is a home invasion." 20 minutes later, 2 officers stand in our living room, reviewing my property deed and identification while my father paces. "Sir," the older officer says finally, "she's the majority owner of the property. She has every legal right to be here and to change the locks if she wishes." My mother steps forward then, tears brimming. "After all we've done for you, Logan. We raised you, we put food on the table, You filed rental income using my name and social security number." I interrupt, pulling copies of tax forms from my folder. "You collected over $50,000 renting out rooms in a house that's majority mine, without my knowledge or consent." The younger officer clears his throat. "Ma'am, you might want to consult an attorney about that situation. Unauthorized use of someone's identity for financial transactions island." He leaves the sentence hanging, but the implication is clear. My parents exchange a look I've never seen before, panic mixed with the dawning realization that their control is slipping away. "You have 30 days to vacate." I tell them as the locksmith hands me the new keys. "I've prepared a notice to that effect. You can take it with you when you pack your overnight bags." I watch them move upstairs to gather essentials, my mother's shoulders shaking with silent sobs, my father's back rigid with indignation. As they pack overnight bags, preparing to leave the house they'd treated as exclusively theirs, I wonder, Should I give them more time out of mercy? Or was enforcing the 30-day notice the necessary boundary they'd never respected? What would you do? My phone buzzes with a text from Captain Mercer. Operation successful? I text back a simple yes as Dana completes her documentation of the property condition, photographing water damage in the hallway ceiling and cataloging the furniture that doesn't belong to me. When the locksmith finishes with the back door, I test each key myself, feeling the weight of them in my palm. For the first time in 11 years, I hold the only keys to this house. No one can enter without my permission. That night, I sleep in my childhood bedroom, now cleared of the rental furniture. I lie on an air mattress Dana helped me inflate, staring at the ceiling I once covered with glow-in-the-dark stars, now painted over with rental beige. I move through the silent house without asking permission, opening cabinets, examining closets, claiming space with each step. In the kitchen, I make coffee without worrying about using the wrong mug or leaving water spots on the counter. My brother Evan calls the next morning, his voice oscillating between anger and confusion. "What the hell, Logan? Mom and Dad are staying at a hotel. What are you doing?" "Exercising my legal rights," I answer, sitting at the kitchen table, a place I'd never lingered before. "But why now? Why like this?" His anger dissolves into awkward silence when I don't immediately respond. "Dad talked about selling the house, didn't he?" I ask finally, before I could come back and complicate things. The pause before his answer tells me everything. "He said it would be easier than figuring out how to split things with you," Evan admits quietly. I didn't think he was serious. After we hang up, neighbors begin stopping by, curious about my parents' sudden absence. Mrs. Kellerman from next door brings a casserole, her eyes scanning the entryway for changes. "We've been wondering when we'd see you again," she says. "Your father mentioned you might not be coming back at all." In the afternoon, I venture into the attic, searching for Christmas decorations my parents claimed were thrown out years ago. Instead, I find stacks of family photo albums, including pictures of me that had been removed from the main floor, my high school graduation, my Navy commissioning ceremony, holiday gatherings from before I enlisted, preserved but hidden away, like a secret no one wanted to acknowledge. I run my fingers over my younger face, wondering when exactly I became someone they needed to erase. On Wednesday next week, the Bennett family lawyer adjusts his tie as he slides a manila folder across the dining room table. The January sun casts long shadows through the windows of what was once the exclusive domain of my parents. I don't touch the folder. "Lieutenant Bennett, your parents have authorized me to offer a very generous settlement." His voice carries the practiced smoothness of someone accustomed to brokering deals between reasonable people. "They'll purchase your interest in the property at 70% of appraised value." My father sits ramrod straight beside my mother, whose fingers twist nervously in her lap. The small victory of having them request a meeting rather than simply appearing at the door unannounced is not lost on me. "Given your lack of financial contribution to the property's upkeep over the years," the lawyer continues, "this represents a substantial concession on their part." I notice my father's tight smile, the false politeness that appears whenever he thinks he's about to get his way. There are also certain family matters that would be best kept private. The lawyer glances meaningfully at my father. Tax considerations that benefit everyone if handled discreetly. My mother leans forward. "Logan, honey, this is really the best solution for everyone. You'll have a nice nest egg to start fresh somewhere else." The condescension in her tone as if I'm still the teenager who needs guidance, rather than a combat veteran who survived 3 deployments, ignites something cold and hard inside me. I reach for my own folder, placed strategically on the side table before they arrived. "Before I respond to your offer, I'd like to share some documentation." Their eyes track my movements as I methodically arrange papers on the table. Tax documents, rental agreements, bank statements, all meticulously organized with color-coded tabs. This is a complete accounting of the rental income collected in my name without my knowledge or consent. I tap one document, $58,342 over 6 years. The lawyer blinks rapidly, then reaches for the papers. I allow it. My counter-offer is simple. You can either sign a formal lease agreement at fair market value, with the understanding that all rental income will be properly reported to the IRS going forward. I pause, letting the alternative hang in the air. Or, my father's voice has lost its confident edge, or you can vacate the property completely within 30 days. The silence that follows feels like the moment before an artillery strike hits that pocket of quiet when everyone holds their breath. You can't be serious. My father recovers first, his face flushing. After everything we've done for you? I meet his gaze steadily. I've spent my career defending other people's homes. I never thought I'd have to defend mine from my own family. My unblinking stare causes him to look away first. The power shift in the room is palpable. The family living room where I once played as a child, where Christmas celebrations happened without me just weeks ago, has become a battlefield of wills. The lawyer whispers something to my father, who shakes his head sharply. This is absurd. We're not signing any lease. My father pushes back from the table. And we're certainly not leaving our home of 30 years. I slide the formal eviction notice across the table. Then you leave me no choice. He doesn't touch it. Is this what the military taught you about family, Logan? Is this what it means to you? Family doesn't use each other. My voice remains steady despite the anger coursing through me, and it doesn't throw people away when they're inconvenient. My mother begins to cry, soft hiccuping sobs that once would have made me immediately back down, apologize, smooth things over. Now I simply wait. You'll regret this. My father says, but there's uncertainty in his eyes that I've never seen before. When you're alone with nobody, you'll remember who was always there for you. Was that before or after you used my name for tax fraud? I push the eviction notice closer to him. Before or after you told me not to come home for Christmas while I was recovering from injuries I sustained serving this country? My father snatches the pen from the table. His hand trembles with suppressed rage as he signs the notice, the scratch of the ballpoint against paper the only sound in the room. We'll be gone in 2 weeks, he says, standing abruptly. Not because you're forcing us, but because I refuse to live under the same roof as someone who would do this to their own blood. The look of disbelief on his face when I don't crumble, don't apologize, don't take it all back, is almost worth everything that led to this moment. Almost. After they leave, I stand at the window watching neighbors peek through curtains, curious about the raised voices. The rumors will spread quickly in this small community. The Bennett family suddenly moving out after 3 decades. The military daughter who came home and claimed the house. I walk slowly to the garage, where boxes of my childhood have been stacked haphazardly, things they couldn't be bothered to take with them. In one cardboard container, I find them. My military honors, still in their original packaging, commendations and medals, certificates of achievement all still sealed in official envelopes. They'd kept my achievements hidden, as if they were shameful rather than worthy of display. I stand on the front porch of 185 Willow Creek Road, watching the morning sun glint off the new brass plaque beside the door. The Bennett Project, transitional housing for female veterans. My fingers trace the engraved letters, still sharp against my skin. 6 months ago, I received a text that broke something inside me. Today, that very breaking has become my foundation. Lieutenant Bennett? A woman in her late 40s approaches up the walkway, overnight bag clutched in one hand, discharge papers in the other. Her eyes dart nervously to the windows, as if expecting to be turned away. Just Logan now, I say, extending my hand. Welcome to the Bennett Project. Her grip is firm despite her uncertainty. This makes the 5th veteran I've interviewed this week, each carrying wounds both visible and hidden. Some, like mine, aren't the kind that show on medical charts. Inside, the house bears little resemblance to the one my family abandoned. The dining room where I once sat silently through uncomfortable meals is now a community space with a massive table. The rented bedrooms that once paid for my parents' cruises now offer refuge for women transitioning from service to civilian life. My phone buzzes against my hip. Dad. The screen displays his message. We should talk about the house situation. Months ago, those words would have sent me scrambling to respond, desperate for whatever crumbs of approval he might offer. Now, I simply slide the phone back into my pocket. If we talk, it will be on new terms, ones where my voice carries equal weight. The realization settles comfortably. I no longer need his permission to feel worthy. My worth was never his to give or take away. That evening, Dana arrives with a bottle of sparkling cider and a casserole that fills the kitchen with the scent of rosemary and sage. Captain Mercer follows shortly after, his uniform exchanged for jeans and a button-down shirt. Our first 2 residents, Marianne and Jacqueline, join us at the table that once excluded me. To finding home in unexpected places, Dana says, raising her glass. We touch glasses, the soft chime echoing in the kitchen. After we eat, I hand each resident their own set of keys, watching their faces as they accept them. They understand what it means to reclaim space, to transform territory once deemed off-limits. The following Tuesday, a reporter from the Willow Creek Chronicle sits across from me on the front porch, her recorder between us on the small table. "There's been talk around town about the family conflict behind this project," she says, pen poised above her notepad. "Would you like to address that?" I consider her question, watching a pair of cardinals settle on the new bird feeder. "This isn't about shaming them," I say finally. "It's about healing me." She nods, jotting something down. "And the future of the Bennett project?" I tell her about the grant application for expanding to other properties, the weekly support services we're planning, the community partnerships forming. The words flow easily, no longer tangled with apology or doubt. After she leaves, I return to the entryway with the last of my military commendations. I hang the frame carefully, aligning it with the others now displayed proudly along the wall, each medal, each certificate visible to everyone who enters. As I hung the last frame on the wall, I wondered if reconciliation requires equal effort from both sides, or if sometimes the healthiest path forward is to create something new from what was broken. Would you try to rebuild the bridge, or would you use those materials to construct something that better serves others? The house answers with the sounds of life women who understand what it means to serve, to sacrifice, and finally to come home.